Okay, Saints might have started off slow in this week 5 of Play versus Action, but then they just completely turned it around there in game number 3. Taking the victory royale with everybody alive and find themselves a bunch of eliminations on top of that, putting them in a fantastic position to shoot themselves way far up the rankings. And as of right now, trying to find it, it does put them in 7th right now here. Basically caught up with the majority of the other teams here in the top, so they're in a position. It's not the easiest of positions, but they could possibly even take the night if they can keep up pace like this. But of course, still plenty of action, plenty of rounds still to go. Can absolutely change on a dime. Of course, having themselves 129 points already here is strong, but it might not carry it all the way for the rest of the night. So we'll have to see as we move forward. Of course, for anybody who does want to follow along with the score, I'm going to throw the Fortnite tracker, actually, the link that I'm looking at right here, right now, in the Twitch chat, so you can double check and see along with me of not only of our Saints in action, but everybody else who's also competing here tonight in Play versus Fortnite Trios. It looks like a bit of a quiet landing here this time by. So, I want to also mention, I know these Saints players, they definitely set the bar kind of high. That being said, though, if you think you have what it takes to be a part of our St. Clair Saints varsity esports team, be sure to apply on our website, stclairsaints.ca/join. Fill out the application for any of the varsity titles listed on the website. Or if you see one that's not there, apply anyway, but just note that if you apply for something that's not on there, there is probably not going to be necessarily a team right away. But of course, that's the beauty of also having our St. Clair Esports Club. If you want to make a team for a specific game, go for it. We'll try and back you if you can show that you're running it, or show that you're running it properly. Definitely don't mind supporting you. I've definitely streamed club activities before, or club matches, when I can tell that they are absolutely killing, or not killing it in regards to results, but like I can tell that they're organized and whatnot. How do you think the Call of Duty team got started? But if you want to apply for one of our varsity titles, be sure to, of course, again, to apply on our website, stclairsaints.ca/join. I could only imagine marketing cringing every single time I try to write it, or I try to wing one of, or not wing, but say one of those shoutouts, because I always think of something additional to add in my head, and then I just ramble on. I'm a commentator for a reason, I suppose. Am I right? A quiet and standard start here for St. Clair, to the point where they're able to load up nicely, get themselves to that truck, get all loaded up with shields, and move on forward. A-okay. I thought I heard some shots fired, but it doesn't look like anything's actually going down. And actually, hang on a moment, up on the hilltops there, where the Saints were possibly thinking about making their next trip for looting, team was spotted. However, Saints are actually opting against it right now, at least. Unless they want to hop into Lasix's car, and I'll go for it. One of those scenarios where everybody has to be on the same page, but it looks like Saints opting against the engagement right now. Just going to opt to get to the NPC for now. And then maybe we'll see if they take the fight afterwards, if they can spot them again. Yeah, Saints basically have all the time in the world, it feels like, here this time by. Of course, you have to watch out for the Sweaty Sands area. There sometimes does end up being some sort of confrontation at that point. Haven't quite seen one today so far, but around that area there was definitely one before. I was gonna say, uh-oh, I hear some doggos chasing Lasix, I think. But majority of the NPCs here in Fortnite, from at least what I've seen, tend to be a little bit on the bark worse than their bite kind of side of things. Don't do a whole heck of a lot of damage. Here, I'm just waiting for when Fortnite all of a sudden just drops like, imagine this, like Fortnite pairs up with Battletech or something like that, and all of a sudden they just drop a gigantic Atlas, a big ol', talk about Mech Warrior of course, but like a big ol' Atlas mech right into the middle of everything as an NPC. No, you can't pilot it because we've seen what happens when you allow piloted mechs in Fortnite, but just to make the Atlas just an NPC that just goes absolutely nuts on anybody who's there, then let's see who survives. Be thankful, everybody, that I am not a game developer. And there is a purple variant of the rocket launcher, but it only has one shot, so interesting to note, one of those treasure chests, it looks like. And that's why I didn't see that chest there before. You had to unbury it, so that's kind of cool. Nice little add-on. Seems to keep some powerful stuff, so powerful that you basically get 1 to 3 shots available there on that rocket launcher. And if you have to search for treasure to get rocket launcher shots, that is absolutely brutal. You better make every shot count. Gosh, now I've got myself thinking about Mech Warrior, and I'm just picturing to myself a catapult in the very, very background just launching missiles at everybody. One of those games that I wish had a more solid esports scene. But I guess World of Tanks is the closest I'm going to get to that, and even that is so much different. One can dream. One day, maybe. That's always the funny thing. I get asked every once in a while, like, "Oh, Mr. Danners, what's your favorite esports to cast? Is it any of the, like, which of the Saints ones are the Saints ones any of your favorites?" And it's like, no. All of my favorite esports, I unfortunately will not see here as collegiate. At least not yet. That being said, though, absolutely love casting as many games as we do here on the Saints channel. All of them still very exciting. Still enjoy everyone. None of them are a drag. None of them are boring. Especially getting to know all the players and getting to root them on in, day out. Makes things nice and interesting as well. Doggos! Don't hit the doggos. Looks like in Siri's speedrun, he does in fact save the animals. Shots fired right down the road. Siri going to be forced to detour off, but no, it's going to be actually Lasix in the driver's seat, so I was going to make a comment earlier that it seemed like Lasix was driving like a maniac, but that was absolutely clutch that time by hopping right off the road, not running into anything. And keeping Siri safe as well, because of course, Siri's sitting there in the trunk bed. If there's any time you're going to get smoked out of the car, it would definitely be when you're hiding in the trunk, or in the truck bed. But separating himself to the point where it's not going to get him hit, it's going to hit the car instead. And did I just see a Velociraptor? Either way, collecting meat, collecting bones for some crafting. Of course, Siri does have the crossbow available already sitting there with purple rarity, strictly for the flame or the mortar style instead. Seems to be either the one he's been lucky in regards to picking up the most, or seems to be his preferred crossbow. I know week one, or not week one, it would have been week one of the actual game itself. No, not week one of the game itself. What am I saying here? Thoughts, words. Week one of the new season. Yes, that's what it was. So it would have been, I believe, week 3 of action here in the Play vs. Fortnite Trios. We've seen Siri crafting a bunch of the poisonous gas-based crossbow, but not seeing that as much anymore, at least over the last 3 games, or 4 games now, include this one. Hey, there we go. It's been a little quiet for a bit, but the Siri fan club has returned. Welcome. That treasure chest gets picked on up, but Siri, of course, did spot out the players over on the other side of Lazy Lake. And they find an angle of attack that will keep them safe here. It's a little bit awkward because the storm is starting to come on in as well. And if they do focus their fire towards that team, they have to watch out for them behind. Possibly another team's like scrambling in from trying to dodge the storm. Tell Siri is looking for a fight in this situation, but nobody home as of right now here at Lazy Lake. And sure enough, okay, there is the person running up the hillside right now. I believe that is going to be Lasix and Junie. Both point him out here for Siri. He's going to try and take himself to the high ground. Of course, if he wants to try and just work with crossbow and the assault rifle, going to be in perfect position. And sure enough, player on the truck bed. Can Siri find another huge shot? We did see earlier in this Play vs. series here in week 5 that he was able to shoot somebody right out of the car and get a knockdown on them, then the kill. Siri, no stranger at trying to take those hard shots. Opt to just get himself in, him and the rest of the team, of course, into safe zone. Start fortifying up for at least a moment. There's somebody actually right around the corner here, so has to be careful not to put himself into the open. Let's see some shots fired, trying to see where exactly. We can see in the distance down towards, I believe is Lazy Lake, still some people scavenging through. Going to have to make a run for it. In theory, they're going to run right into the Saints if they do end up taking the road out. And we see Siri locked in and ready there with the crossbow. Trying to trim down an opposing fort, but that's about it so far. Now we can see the fire going inside the building, so even if the other team on the far side don't end up moving, that's still a massive nuisance to try and deal with. Of course, Siri does have plenty of shots still on that crossbow as well. 30 in the tank should last you a while. Going to see, can take care of some of these running players who are trying to make the move from Lazy Lake. Trying to rotate on in, beat the storm. They're going to be able to get in just on the outskirts, but if they try to move in at all, it's going to be difficult. Rocket launcher shot going up against them, however. Going to knock the Saints down for just a second. Shots fired to the low ends. Can they find a shot? Snipes them with the arrow. Not quite going to make its mark. A little bit of burn damage from the grounds, but that's about it. And now with the Storm ready to make its move again. Minute on the clock for that. Saints are going to make an early move considering how many teams were just in that section that they were just at. Get themselves on the inside, just on the inside. Get themselves fortified. Saints on a relatively similar pace compared to the last game, which of course, if that is what it's going to be the case, could very well end up in a victory royale. But don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. Only half the players out of this game as of right now. 50, of course, still in this game. 25 seconds before this Storm starts moving in as well. No eliminations on the board right now for your St. Clair squad. But of course, like I was saying, at this point in the last game, they didn't have any eliminations either. So not all hope is lost. And it's definitely interesting the way that Siri is using this crossbow right now. It's using it more as a sieging weapon compared to an actual, like, one-shot sniping weapon. Just making it uncomfortable for anybody to move throughout their building. Poisonous gas is getting placed into the Saints' fortress, but not far enough in that is going to cause a problem. Team spotted, shots fired, but nobody taking any heat as of right now. Crossbow shot. Blow down a couple walls. Two supply packages on the field, all covered up by other forts already. Nobody really able to claim them as of right now, but it's still going to be very tempting. If they want them, they have to kind of go kind of quickly. Storm, of course, not going to be in their favor. One person or one team, though, is the Saints that have this in their favor. They're pretty much dead center. That being said, though, rockets and explosions galore here in the Saints base. People want this position, and they want it badly. So the Saints, they don't have to move, but they're going to have to defend. Of course, we see the Saints work their best when they do have the bird's eye view of the battlefield. So as much as they want to go up higher in this situation, these other teams just keep shooting it down over and over and over again. Some of the supply packages starting to make their landing pretty much right as the Storm's going to go in. We do see some teams making their charge towards it. I was wondering if you could set the water on fire, but okay, at least Fortnite follows that logic. One of the packages did get picked up. Some shots fired. That is going to be, I believe that was Lasix, who clutches up a kill. And there we go. Nicely done. Use that harpoon. Steal all of the resources that that player had as well. And there is still more players below. So a solid pickup there. St. Clair going to get themselves their first elimination here of the round. I tell you what, it's starting to get exciting here, getting into the late game of this fourth Fortnite round. Basically about to hit the halfway point here in this session. And this is where it's going to start getting messy. Saints had themselves prime position. They have to completely give it up now because the Storm is going right back into itself. Early move for the Saints to make their way right to the edge, try and travel alongside the edge of the moving Storm. And again, they can find a way to get themselves into a higher position. They'll have themselves in such a great spot. Lots of shots fired. Still have a couple arrows as well to try and cut off retreat routes. We did see him trying to take the position that that player would have probably ran in. Try to cut them off. Not going to be able to stop them this time by. But again, just moving slowly but surely alongside Storm. PlayVS and Junie right there with Siri. Saints all on the move. You can see massive cluster now here as everybody trying to do the same. Last thing you want to do is get yourself accidentally exposed because you're going to take so much damage so quickly. Probably from multiple different teams if you do end up on the wrong side of an engagement. Shots fired onto Siri, going to get taken down to about half of his health just by barely showing himself for just a second. Trying his damnedest to run his way through. Junie and PlayVS are further ahead in this situation, so it's actually Siri is the trailer. Going to be trying to pop as many potions as quick as possible. Get himself in a good spot, some good shots fired. I'm not sure if that actually made contact, however. Bit of an odd spot here. Looks like PlayVS servers definitely having a hard time here in this session. There's so much action back and forth in the last couple seconds. Definitely kind of brutal to deal with. There's a jump, there's a good shot, and PlayVS and Junie both get completely jumped, unfortunately. That being said, nice little pickup there from Siri to take care of Cody. Finds himself another knockdown as well. That's going to be 2 eliminations now credited over to Siri. Charging on through, trying to stay inside the safe zone. 17 players left to go, but Siri is the only Saint left. Can he stay low? Can he find himself a couple extra kills and go down guns blazing? We'll have to see in just a second. Does not have any actual healing. He only has shields as of this moment. Which, of course, the Storm itself does not care about your health, or not. No, it does care about your health. It tries to eat it away. It does not care about your shields. So just sap away directly at your HP. Late game going longer and longer. A couple more moments before the Storm starts moving in a different direction. And right now, Siri laying low. Does spot actually somebody kind of getting picked on a little bit. Gonna try and get a piece of it as well. He's able to go after others, but nobody's really going after him, which is definitely the positive here for the Saints in general. This is a bit of an awkward spot, however. Siri's going to have to give up some of his HP to try and make this move. Trying to play the high ground. He did get spotted out, however. I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to hang on to this. 10 players, 9 players left in this game. For Siri, no healing items available. Only shields from bullets. And he is spotted out. He's going to be hunted down now. And sure enough, eventually, the outnumbered situation is going to catch up with you. And a solid top 5 finish here for Siri to get the Saints at least a little bit further ahead here in that round. Now, as of right now, that looks like a bit of a quiet one, to be honest. I'm seeing 178 points total here for St. Clair, so they didn't really make a whole lot, but I'm going to double check here alongside our score. As of right now, this does move them into the top 5 with 178 points. They're technically tied for 4th, but the players that are in first right now, Big Hush and Stendeman, are leading the charge with 220. So still a little bit of a range or a little bit of a ways for the Saints to go. Of course, we are just hitting the halfway point here of the action here tonight. Going to take a very quick break once again. Try and sneak some water in one more time. See if our Saints can pull this one back. Getting themselves some good finishes. Let's see if they can keep this going.